My presentation is a bit different. I have been seeing from the morning some wonderful presentations on research and all the great stuff that's happened. Um, I'm actually going back a little bit and then going forward. Why am I going back and going forward? Because what I'm doing in India has some links and roots right here in Switzerland and with Professor Helbing and his project FutureICT. So let me first go back. Well, in 2018, I got an email and I was invited by Professor Helping to join a workshop. And, this is the picture of that workshop. And we discussed and we were introduced to some very, very interesting perspectives. And the perspective that I got introduced to at that time in 2019 was this. And I would call it the key idea that was seated in my brain as I was sitting. Like one of you in the audience is Professor Helping called out, and that's also there in a tweet. We need privacy preserving, crowdsourced open data, and that is the backbone of modern smart city, a city that works for the people and puts the citizen at the center. So yes, I got this idea, and then I was in touch with Stefan Klauser. He used to also be part of the team, and then we decided to kind of create an event in India, and that event is called the FutureICT Forum, because what happened was when I looked at Europe and I saw what's happening in Europe, um, I didn't feel a sense of urgency because it's a stable society. There's a lot of mental iteration, and the bias to action is a bit slow. India is a country of 1.2 billion people. We have a lot of problems to solve. We have to solve problems at scale. We have to solve problems at speed. So what I thought was maybe I could take some solutions, some ideas from here and get it implemented on ground and help those that are implementing it, which could be startups, it could be, even large corporates. And so we started, this edition in 20th of March 2020. We called it the FutureICT Forum for Sustainable City. So this is how the journey has been. And then, of course, we had Stefan himself speaking in Bangalore at our summit and putting some of these ideas. So finally, we have moved and brought the spotlight of those core ideas and principles that I learned from here. And because we had this idea of open data, of anonymized data that can work for society, in my brain, a radar was switched on. And this radar helped me listen to different ideas, young people in India. And I came across something called the Beckon protocol. So if my presentation is of any use, I think this is the central principle. Because these guys who were doing the Beckon protocol, we're talking about open data, we're talking about helping data empower people. So it was the same thing that I heard in India somehow with these principles. So we showcased them at our summit and we launched that in 2023. So now I have to step away from the slide. Maybe I will use this mic. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yes. All right. So we said, or as I was going deeper into backend before we showcased, backend came with a fundamental principle. So I want to explain that and go back to my presentation. So they were saying in India and also in the world, thanks to, let's say, protocols which were open. So internet works on open protocol. So what we call HTTPS is how packets of data move from one computer to the other. So this protocol is interoperable. So you could have a computer, a tablet, different device, but still the internet would work on your device. The same principle applied for email, which is interoperable because
I could have a Google account, somebody could have Microsoft. Google and Microsoft compete. So I have Gmail, you have Microsoft, but my email reaches you and your email reaches me because it's interoperable. But somehow the next layer of development, so internet, email, and the next layer of development, which we call e-commerce, is not interoperable. So what do I mean by that? From Amazon, you cannot book a Uber cab. From Uber, you cannot buy a book. So what happened in India, some of the guys in Bangalore, who, who I was able to find thanks to the framework I got from the Future ICT project about interoperability, open data, they said something has gone wrong at the third level. And the third level is the commerce level. And in commerce, it's got to do with livelihood, right? So they said, why is it that different people have created their kingdoms and what you would call monopolies or oligopolies and blocked access and closed the wall? So we said in India, we should not allow this. And basically, the best way to do it was a protocol thinking and an open thinking. So what they said essentially, or what backend protocol is they looked at the 5 steps of commerce. So I'm making a quick summary so that you get it. And the 5 steps of commerce are search, select, add to cart, buy, return, refund, review, let's say. And then they wrote digital semantics for each of these 5 steps. So if somebody here, let's say at the south of India, is developing a product and follows those same semantics, and somebody here at the north of India is developing some other product and follows the same digital semantics, from his e-commerce site, you could discover the other guy. And from his e-commerce site, you could discover and you could order and fulfill it in either places. And this led in India through this protocol to the launch of multiple things. I will not cover all the multiple things. I know you're all researchers, and of course you have the ChatGPT or any other AI model to search further. But I'll just give you 2-3 examples, which are very easy to relate. And I'll show you also some live dashboard of open data, which is, we saw some wonderful football graphics and simulations. So I will show something else. It's economic simulation, how money is getting made, but maybe it's also of interest. So the first use case is what we call Namayatri. So let me keep this mic back.
So Namayatri is a similar thing like Uber. The only difference is that it's based on open data, and it does not take commissions in the middle, right? So the principle of backend protocol is there's nobody in the middle. And instead of platform thinking, we should move to network thinking. And in network thinking, you don't lock people up. Anybody can discover anybody. That's the idea. So if I have to, let's say, how do I go to the dashboard? Javier, I just... So this is the website called namaya3.in. I leave it here for a second so that in case any of you, how do I sign? Oh, escape, okay. All right. And then here I have the dashboard of this cab company, for example. Let me use this again.
So this, you see, is the number of trips completed today in my city, Bangalore. And what is happening is, you see this live. So all you need to do is, if you refresh, you see this live data. Anybody can see from anywhere. And today, from the morning, I think now it's about 4 p.m. in India, 83,000 trips were completed, 300,000 people search for cabs, and the drivers earn $150,000. And if you go up, you see the map of Bangalore, and you can see live in different parts of Bangalore how many cabs or trips are getting carried out. And then you can see live how many people searched at what time, how many trips were accepted, and then how much money was made every second or every minute. So just to give you an idea, I think around end of 23, and now there are 49,000 online drivers, 3,000 trips are going live. If I just look at all-time data, which is roughly about 2.5 years, the total amount of money that was made is about $115 million in one city, Bangalore. So please note, this is one city. You can see Bangalore. You can see that this solution also grows. And more than 200,000 drivers were enabled. So one of the things that we saw in Bangalore was the drivers who wanted to benefit from the digital economy had to pay out huge commissions to somebody in the middle, right? And here in this model, it's just a subscription-based fee. So they pay about 50 cents per day and they get unlimited trips. So if you look at an Uber driver in Germany or somewhere else, they're paying much, much higher, sometimes even 10 euros per day for the trips. So what we did just by making the digital economy open and the data available live for everybody to see. And now there are startups that want to build on this data and see how they can optimize. So this was one solution that got launched in Bangalore. And the next thing that happened is what is called India's Open Network for Digital Commerce, ONDC. So this is another way that every business which wants to be digital can connect. And if my shoe company that sells shoes brings business to somebody else that sells watches, and they discover the watch company from my website, I get 3% of the business of the other guy. So we've made a kind of referral scheme, and this is Open Network for Digital Commerce. And this has helped a lot of local entrepreneurs, from different cities of India, go online and find access to capital and growth. Well, it doesn't stop here. Our movement goes on. The next summit, which is the 6th edition of the summit, is in March, on 11th of March. And these are the interesting topics. We have digital trust, fintech. It's happening at that hotel. It looks exactly like that, the picture. So if you come to Bangalore, it's a nice place to have a conference. We cover also new mobility, tech for health and wellness. And I just want to tell you a few things that will be showcased this year at our summit. So this is Anupam, for example. He just met me. He is doing something really crazy, which is he's taken weather data, which is parametric data already available by the government, converting that data, which is available, to help farmers get insurance of crop damage with T+2 days. So normally, if there's rain or flooding and there's damage to crops, the farmer doesn't get his insurance claim. And now they're doing parametric climate-based insurance through a digital system with open data, with settlement in T+2 days. And this young guy has a startup, and he's raising about $5 million for his next round. He's going to be at our summit. But this is just one aspect. Here's the other aspect. We actually launched in the FutureICT forum 2 years ago, where Bangalore had a wonderful number of cameras at different traffic signals. So these cameras were coming to a control center, centralized systems that don't work. And now they're just using an AI engine to see how to manage traffic better. And next step, which they're going to launch in March at our summit, is the digital twin of Bangalore for traffic. So this is getting launched at our summit. The commissioner will be explaining about how they're planning to use a digital twin. And this is the last thing I want to show, because, this guy also will be there. So he is a company called Swayat Robots, and he managed to, managed to create a completely autonomous driverless car in Indian condition. So here it is, and then I'll explain a few things after that. This is
it a little, but you can use Google to find them. Professor explained that it's the smarter way to find, so if you get double the number of points, your brain works along with the computer. So you can find about Swayat robots. Interesting thing that I want to share with you of why some great ideas have to hit the ground and have to hit the test of the markets. Just to give you an example, the founder of Swayat Robots, Sanjeev, he was at our summit in 2018, which is the other summit I run, which is called the India Advantage Summit. And at that time, it was a very small company, maybe with, I think, 30,000 euros or something like that. And I had a German friend who is in my advisory board. His name is Jan Pune. He was at our event in person. He listened to me and came to Bangalore. And because he was there, he helped Swayat Robots to get into the BMW Startup Garage initiative. So they got some grant. And I'm happy to say that today, Swayat Robots from 18 to 25, we are in 2025, he's worth $151 million. And interestingly, because Jan met him in Bangalore, Jan has 2% in the company. So what I'm saying is ideas are good, technology is good, but we have to see how technology can solve real problems for real people. And of course, if you say that there are not much problems in Europe, welcome to India. You can join, collaborate, and you can actually feel the joy of science and discovery. And my full strength and support to Professor Helping. I look forward to being associated with him and to attend every year what he does, to see what else I can take back and help scale in India. I think one of the best gifts that man can give others is the gift of time. So I will stop 10 minutes before. Thank you.